Hey, it's Orit Krug here, and today we're talking about how to stop freezing up whenever your partner does something that reminds you of the past, whenever your partner does something that's scary. So this can look like, your partner uses a certain tone of voice talking to you, and all of a sudden it triggers you into this freeze response. And it's because on a primal level, the level of your nervous system, that nonverbal part of your brain, that this tone of voice reminds you of your father being emotionally abusive or an ex-partner being physically abusive. And that was the tone that they used that led up to the events of your trauma. It just takes a really quick snap to get into that freeze mode and not knowing what to do, not being present enough to actually take action. So you might freeze up and then stay there, or maybe you go into a flight mode where you pick up everything and go. You might pick up your kids and run away and be like, I have to protect myself, I have to protect them. Or you might fight, you might react and fight, where you fight back, you're aggressive, you're yelling, you're snapping back. Either way, your response is unique to you, or your sequence of reactions are unique to you. But the way that is really helpful to start dissolving this freeze response is, number one, rewiring your nervous system, which is nothing that I can help you do through this video, but just know that that's an option to really rewire your nervous system to stop reacting in that freeze so that you can expand your window of tolerance and handle more. So things that used to trigger you are now a no big deal. It doesn't trigger those responses. And preventative things, which is something that I can help you more in this video. So what are the things that lead you into such a stressful place where it's that much easier for you to snap into a freeze response or to switch into a freeze response? For example, I was recently working with a client who her husband would use a certain tone of voice when he came home and she didn't have the dinner prepared for him that he asked for. And every once in a while he works late and he just wants her to have dinner prepared for him. It's a love language that he is asking for. And when she didn't have that the last time, he used a certain tone of voice and she all of a sudden froze. And he's like, oh, hello, can you say something? I'm trying to speak to you. I'm trying to see why you're not meeting my needs. And like, he's getting more agitated. She's getting more frozen. It's just not a good situation. And so when we really explore this together, what we did was we did some mirroring together where I actually mirrored her and she actually led a movement and I didn't quite mirror her. I was doing slightly different movements and we took turns doing this. So she had to tell me how to change my body and my movements to match her. That's symbolic of this is how she's expressing herself and I'm not quite listening. So here's how she's telling me to listen better. And it takes a lot of directness. This is a really great practice to speak up instead of freezing or being like, internally freaking out. And what actually happened was that from the outside, she looked super calm. She was telling me exactly what to do in this direct and calm way. I was actually really impressed. I was like, wow, okay. And when we actually went to process it, she told me how much she was freaking out inside. She felt so awkward. She felt so anxious and so uncomfortable. And I was like, wow, I didn't see that at all from the outside. And she connected this to her life because this always happens where on the outside, she's cool, calm, and collected. On the inside, things are escalating so much to the point where she's so stressed, she easily snaps into this fight, flight, freeze response. And this was gold because now we have the intel to be like, okay, now start communicating when you feel awkward inside. And follow that, listen to that. And she realized, oh yeah, this happened after a weekend where we were away for the whole weekend. We were doing all these things for the kids. It was like one thing after the other. It was actually pretty stressful. And I was already kind of freaking out inside, where I could have spoken up and said no to some things. I could have relaxed more. I could have really respected my body signals more. And so that's one way that we are now working with the preventatives. So we get to rewire her nervous system and also do that through preventing, putting her body in more and more stress and actually expanding her window of tolerance around saying no, around setting limits and her boundaries. And so this is one way that you can do the same to stop your freeze response from taking over your body. And if you'd like to know and really have some great insight about how your body, how you can take preventative measures that really relate specifically to your body and your life, then I'd love to invite you to a free relationship review where there's no obligation to work with me, but we will create a map to show you where this is starting, how to track it, and basically how to alleviate yourself from this intense response, therefore healing your trauma and being able to speak up instead and set the boundaries that you need so that you can be at ease and be relaxed and enjoy your relationship. So click on the link to the side above or below to book a relationship review with me. And until next time, can't wait to see you move.